Hey guys, so it's Thursday, September 17th, and I'm coming to you with a TTC update. So things are still pretty much the same as they were in my last update. We're still not trying, and I'm still not tracking or doing anything to prevent getting pregnant, but I'm not doing anything to really push towards it. So we're still just baby dancing whenever we want to, and that is the only thing that I'm tracking. Is anytime we baby dance, I put it in my little app and that's it. I'm not worried about what cycle day I am or what my fertility score is, or I haven't been temping, taking OPKs, checking cervical mucus, cervical positioning. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing anything. So it's been nice. I've been relaxing. The reason that I'm making this update is because in the last update I did talk about going or calling my doctor and setting up the appointment to have the progesterone test done anyway, even though we're not trying and I'm not wanting to take any medications or have any other testing done. I just want to know if I'm maybe ovulating on my own now that I'm, low carb and I'm seeing a lot of the PCOS and insulin resistant type of symptoms, diminish and go away. So I thought maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months on keto, maybe I would start to ovulate by myself. And so I should have filmed this video with my raw emotion, but I think I was too emotional to think about filming it, if you know what I mean. I mean, it would have been better if I would have just picked up the camera and told you how I felt whenever I called my doctor's office and got the information that I did, but I just didn't think of it. And then I've been trying so hard to put it out of my mind and out of my thoughts and just move forward that I kept forgetting to sit down and tell you guys about it. I called and I was on hold forever, and then someone answered, took my name and my birthday, and said someone would call me back. And I had said in the message that I was supposed to call on cycle day 1, it's cycle day 4, and I want to get my progesterone test scheduled to see if I'm ovulating. And so 4 or 5 hours later I get a phone call, and it's my doctor's assistant, nurse, that's in there in the room with you the whole time. And she calls me and she says, okay, so I have went over your chart and he has went over your chart, and he is instructing that you come in and pick up a Clomid 50 milligram prescription, and he wants you to take that cycle day 5 through 9, and then we want you to come in for your progesterone test on cycle day whatever. And I'm just I was so furious. I was shaking. I was so upset. And I'm I sat in this man's office for almost 2 hours when I seen him, and we talked and talked and talked, and she was there and she heard the whole story, and he wrote everything down. And mainly what we spoke about was how I felt so mistreated and neglected by my previous doctors, how I went to a gynecologist and he didn't run any tests, he didn't investigate anything, he didn't try to find what was wrong with me or anything. He just wrote me a prescription and shoved it in my face and sent me home, and literally told me not to come back until my boobs hurt and I was throwing up. And at the time I didn't really know whether or not something was wrong with me because we'd only been trying for a year, and I didn't know anything about Clomid and PCOS and the side effects. And I took 5 rounds of 100 milligram Clomid on various cycle days, and obviously those didn't work. I didn't get pregnant, and I ended up with massive cysts all over my ovaries, excruciating pain, debilitating pain, and I've had many ultrasounds and blood tests, just trying to get past getting the Clomid out of my system and recovering from what it did to my body. And he knew all of this when I spoke to him and we talked about it in length, and how I was still having pain, and how I felt if I would have known better, I wouldn't have let somebody do that to me. I wouldn't have just took a prescription for something that I didn't know anything about and put it in my body month after month after month, and not question why I wasn't being tested for, progesterone levels, why I wasn't getting ultrasounds to see if I was making follicles. I didn't know any of these things. And he was just so appalled by the whole situation. It was like, I would never do that to anybody. And if you were my patient, you would be getting ultrasounds regularly to check follicles on this day and that day. And, if you were ever in any pain, it would be stopped. And he's like, but now that you've done so many rounds of Clomid, you can't do anymore. And then we went in to discuss what I wanted to do next, what tests I wanted to have done next, and what medications, if any, I would try with him before I went to a fertility specialist. And so for them to just take one blood test, and I didn't ovulate, not run any other blood work, not run any other tests, not do any other ultrasounds, no HSGs, nothing. And I call and they just write me a prescription and shove it in my face. And for them to write me a prescription for 50 milligram Clomid after 5 rounds of 100 milligrams didn't work, it was just, I felt that betrayal all over again. I felt that I was alone again. I mean, because before I felt like I've got a really smart guy on my hands. I've got somebody who's going to support me, and he asks me what I want to do, and this is going to work out. And if he can't get me pregnant, then I will go to a fertility specialist and I will know that everything was done that could have been done. So I explained that to her. I said, I know there's a lot of patients that go in and out of the office and you can't remember every single one of them, and you can't remember every conversation that was ever had. But for it to be in my file and to be written in my charts that I had done the Clomid before and that I didn't want to do Clomid before, and the next step was going to be metformin and Femara, and that there was going to be several months of testing for ovulation, etc., etc. I said, I did 5 rounds of Clomid, 100 milligrams, and it left me, damaged and mentally and physically damaged, and I'm not doing it again. And I spoke with him and told him that I'm not doing it again. And she goes, well, that's what he wants to do. That's what he has written here. And I said, can I just come in and not take the medicine? Can I just come in and get my blood test done to see if I'm ovulating? She goes, no, you can come in and get the Clomid and then come in and get the blood test, but you can't just come in and get the blood test. And she got very smug with me, like I didn't know what I was talking about, and why would I come in and get a blood test done if I didn't take the medication? And so I essentially, I let her finish saying what she had to say, but I essentially just hung up, and I'm just like, okay, I'm on my own. And it's as upsetting as it is, because I truly wanted to go in and get, the blood test done. And then not only that, but when I decided that I was ready to start trying again, I wanted to have this to fall back on. I wanted to be able to say, okay, now we're ready. I have a great doctor. Let's get back on it. And now I feel like I'm back to square one. So it's sad, and I'm sad, but I wanted to take a break anyway. I wanted to stop all of this anyway. And I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep working on me. I'm going to keep working on my finances. I'm going to work on my marriage. I'm going to work on my body and my health and becoming as happy and as healthy as I possibly can be. And if I don't get pregnant on that journey, then, maybe a few months from now or a year from now, when I feel comfortable, then I will look into finding another doctor. I'm just disappointed. It's just disappointing that people do that doctors do that. And, I know I said, he probably, maybe there was a mix-up, or he just doesn't remember who I was or what happened, but that gives me the impression that that's the kind of doctor that he is, and that is the kind of office that is that when someone is having trouble getting pregnant, give them Clomid. If someone is not ovulating, give them Clomid. If someone has PCOS, give them Clomid. Let's not run any tests. Let's not ask the patient what they want to do. Let's not investigate this and try to find the root of the problem. Let's just give them some Clomid and shut them up. And hey, it's disappointing. And I know how that goes, but it's just, I don't know. That's not me right now. That's not where I'm at. So thank you guys for listening to my rant, and if anything changes TTC wise, I will keep you guys updated.